It's time for another episode of the 90-Day Garden. Dennis Daly goes back into the archives for another day in the life of a real garden as broadcast on radio back in 2000.
Hi, everybody. This is Dennis Daly, and welcome to day 38 of the 90-Day Garden. It seems like this is the time of year that everybody's out in the backyard, whether they're mowing the lawn or taking care of the garden. It's a good time to reacquaint yourself with your neighbors, do a lot of that over-the-backyard fence kind of chit-chat. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the problems we've been having with our bush beans and what we've been doing to correct them. I talked to Lynn O'Brien today and asked her about whether I had done the wrong thing in transplanting the bush beans. You may remember that only about 50% of them actually came up out of the ground and started growing well, but of course that 50% was scattered all over the 10 or 15 feet of the bush bean row. What we ended up doing was to get rid of the bad plants in one area and then move the good ones into that area to make one very good patch about half as big as we had intended. That, of course, required that we move some of the plants. So Lynn tells me I probably did the right thing as long as I took enough of the root structure with them and didn't shock them too much. The next thing I want to talk about as far as the bush beans is the fact that the bean beetles have been out chomping their way through the bean plants. And as we walk down the row, we can see that some of the plants have provided a breakfast for some of our bean beetles. We went out and got a package of Sevin, S-E-V-E-N, by the Ortho Company. Sevin is one of the most popular type of dust application insecticides and herbicides you can buy. As a matter of fact, there are nearly 3 pages of directions on the Sevin package. Not so much warnings as ideas for different kinds of applications. Sevin can be used on everything from beans to tobacco. The important part, though, about using a dust is to make sure that you cover as much of the leaves as possible, both the top and the bottom. If you're lucky and have a duster to spray on the dust, that is, of course, the way to go. But here in the 90-Day Garden, we're starting from scratch, and we're just poor gardeners. So what I did was to take a dry paper cup, about a 16-ounce paper cup, punch some holes in the bottom, put the Sevin dust in it, and use the paper cup in a fashion that you might use a salt shaker. That seemed to work out well. It was a little difficult to get the dust on the bottom of the leaves. Please don't dust in windy conditions. If it's marginally windy, you can use the wind to your advantage by standing upwind and shaking it and letting the wind help you in the application process. But for the most part, we have dusted the beans as necessary, and hopefully we'll be getting rid of those nasty beetles. What to do with the area in the garden that's now vacant? We'll take care of that the next time we get together in the 90-Day Garden.
Join Dennis again for another visit to the 90-Day Garden right here on YouTube.